Hey, beautiful women, welcome back to Women Unleashed, where our inner strength meets unapologetic confidence. We're in our week 41 of our 52 weeks journey, of our transformative journey. And this month, we'll be stepping into a brand new month, and the title of this month is Multiply. Our theme for this month says, Invest your growth into others. And our tagline for the month is, What has grown in you can now grow through you, which is true. What has gone through in us can go through other people. We can invest into other people. Remember, we said towards the end of this quarter, we'll now be talking about investing into others. So over the past few weeks, we have grown, we have healed, we have rediscovered ourselves, we have become more confident. Some of us have broken out of, our comfort zone. We've been taking bold actions. We're learning to embrace the woman where we are becoming, because we're not there, but we are in a different phase now. We're not those, we're not that woman that started 41 weeks ago, where we were crying, where we couldn't discover ourselves, where we didn't know what we had on our inside. We have grown, we have matured, we have been able to break out of our comfort zone, we have been able to let out our voice, we have been able to, take those bold actions, and, we've been seeing results. But the beautiful thing is that growth does not end with us. We have grown, and we are still growing, but it doesn't end with us. I said, what we've learned can help someone else. What we've survived can give someone else hope. What we've discovered can give someone else direction. Yeah, people can learn from our mistake. They can learn from our success, and they can begin to build on it. They can learn the rope so that they can become the women indeed that they've been created to be. And that's why this week 41 is very powerful. For our week 41, our topic is Your Story Has Power, which is trust. Story has power. That's what we call testimony. That's what we call testament. It's got power. And sometimes people even write biography of how they've succeeded, the challenges they've gone through. And we're also learning from the story of people that have gone ahead of us. So our focus this week is, how do I use what I've lived through? How do I use what I've lived through? That's one big question for us. Our story is not just something that happened to us. Our story can be wisdom for someone. It can become encouragement, like we said, and it can become influence. But influence doesn't mean standing on the stage in front of thousands of people watching you. No, it's what we do on a daily basis. I would, mentoring somebody else, coaching somebody else, talking to somebody. Those are ways that we can influence people. I said sometimes influence looks like sitting across the table from one woman who is struggling and saying, I understand, I've been there too. You've seen people that have gone through bereavement, maybe you've lost your dad, your mom, or, a partner, and you've been able to come out strong. You don't you never forget the person that you've lost. My father has been dead now 6 years. Sometimes I remember him, and it's it comes to me like a shock, like it just happened yesterday. And the wave of that emotion. But you've been able to grow, you've been able to work on your emotion, you've been able to come out strong. And when you sit with another person going through that loss at that moment, you can identify with the person. Obviously, you can't say I understand what you're going through, because you don't understand 100%, but you have an idea of what the person is going through, and you can identify with the person. You'll be able to encourage the person. You're able to support that person, and that person knows, is able to lend some wisdom for you on how to be able to put herself together, compose herself, those things that he or she needs to be doing, to go through that phase of our life. I said sometimes it's encouraging a friend, it's mentoring another woman, like I said, and sometimes sharing something we've learned through our own mistakes. Yeah, we all make mistakes, and we need to learn from our mistake. We are greater fools if we keep committing the same mistake. How do you want to grow? You make a mistake, even the Bible says a righteous man will fall 7 times, and we will yet rise again. You fall, that means that you've learned different ways where these things cannot, how this issue cannot work, and then you keep practicing and learning a different way. You don't do the same thing that caused you to fail and keep repeating the same mistake. No. So those mistakes that you've made, you've learned, you've improved, uh, you are able to, interpret that to somebody and encourage somebody else. So sometimes your influence is simply the way you live your life. The way you live your life unapologetically, the way you carry yourself with grace, the way you talk, the way you compose yourself, the way you train your children, the way you study, the way you carry yourself even in university. All those are ways that somebody else can be learning positively from you. It can influence somebody else and make the person a better person. So you don't have to tell everybody everything. You remember the last session we talked about it, that even when you're sharing your story, there's some things that will be very personal, and there's some things that you might still be navigating. You don't need to make yourself so vulnerable 100%. Yeah, you need to share some aspect of your life, but until you're comfortable enough, that's what I always say. Until you're comfortable enough, there's some things that you might not need to share, but you'll be able to still encourage people now to navigate their path. Because the vulnerability needs wisdom. Your story belongs to you, and you get to decide what to share, who you share it with, and when you share it. When you see people that have gone through abusive relationship, you see, and they are survivors. There are some things there are still some nightmare that they still go through. There's still some trauma that they're going through, but they share it bit by bit. As they're able to overcome one phase, they're able to share it and become stronger. But until you're strong enough, nobody's holding you to share all the story. But you need to be authentic also in whatever information that you're giving out to people. Say authentic influence isn't about exposing every painful detail of your life. It's about allowing what you've learned to become useful. So this week, I want us to create our influence map. For the past few weeks, we've been drawing a map. It's more like, giving ourselves assignment, of what to do to try and improve ourselves, because we're in a different aspect of our life. And I said, take some time and ask yourself, where do I already have influence? Who listens to me? Who could benefit from what I have learned? You have people in your spheres of life, in your community. It might be your family, it might be your siblings, be your husband, your children, who can benefit, who can you influence in your own space of life. It can be at work, it can be in your church, it can be in your religious setting, it can be in your business. Think about what you're doing at the moment and see how you can influence other people. And then also think about, how can I use my story intentionally? All these questions are in our worksheet, and there are things that we need to go through, and to draw our own map and see how we want to start putting these things into play. Don't underestimate the space you already occupy. Like I said, your workplace, your family, your relationship, your church, wherever you find yourself. That is where you are being called to influence. But look inward and see who you can influence. There may already be people watching you. There may already be people listening to you and learning from you. It can be your platform that you also want to use to influence people. Many of us have Facebook. You're watching me on Facebook. You're watching me on YouTube, on Instagram. You can use your platform also to influence, people. Even if you don't realize it, there are people watching you, people listening to you, people learning from you. Because, people see you before they hear you. You come to a place, the way you carry yourself, people already see before you even start, giving that pitch that you want to deliver. People already see, people already assess you and see. It's the prototype of the person, of the caliber of the person that we want in this organization. They've already assessed you. Okay. So you're not simply a woman who has been through things. You're a woman who has learned things, and what you have learned can become a gift to somebody else. So you're not simply somebody that has gone through things. All those things, those experiences that you've gone through, is a gift to somebody else. It's a gift to somebody else. If you remember when you're in university, when you're in your first year, you're struggling, or you're maybe your first year in university where you're struggling, with some of those courses, and then you have a chat, the seniors in every year 3, year 4, year 5, in the university, and they begin to give you tips, on how to study, for this thermodynamics. This is how you need to, this is what you need to read. These are the aspects that are so important. And and then they give you the flavors of things, how you need to navigate through that your year 100 level or your first year in the university. That's the same thing we are talking about. So this week, you tell yourself, I am not only a woman with a story, I am a woman with influence, because my story has value, my voice has purpose, and my experience can empower others. So you will tell yourself, your story has value, your voice has purpose, and your experience can influence somebody else. Your experience can help somebody else. So as we go this week, like I said, think of who you need to influence. Think of how you might, share your story. Think about how you're able to influence, people in your own sphere. And the sky will be our starting point. Until I see you next week, keep on unleashing your liberty and do not shrink for everyone. Love you.